It was a calm, sunny afternoon in the small city of Fairfield. Officer Jake Hartman, a seasoned cop known for his sharp instincts, was finishing up his usual patrol. Jake took pride in his job, believing strongly in justice and fairness. But lately, he had been under pressure. A recent series of burglaries had the department on high alert, and Jake felt responsible for catching the culprit. As Jake was driving through a quiet neighborhood, his radio crackled to life. "Attention all units. Suspicious individual reported near Maple Street. Approach with caution." Jake's heart quickened. Maple Street was right around the corner. He immediately headed to the location, determined to resolve the issue swiftly. Upon arrival, Jake spotted a young man wearing a hoodie, pacing nervously near a parked car. Jake's suspicion heightened immediately. This had to be his guy, he thought. Pulling over sharply, Jake exited his vehicle and approached. "Hey, hold it right there," he called out authoritatively. The young man jumped, clearly startled. "Me, officer? What's going on?" "Hands where I can see them," Jake instructed firmly. Confused and frightened, the young man raised his hands. "Officer, I live around here. I haven't done anything." Jake didn't listen. Driven by urgency and recent frustrations, he assumed he'd finally caught the burglar. Without proper questioning, he took out his handcuffs and secured the young man's wrists. "Officer, you're making a huge mistake. Please, just listen," the young man pleaded. "We'll see about that," Jake replied coldly, guiding him towards the patrol car. Neighbors peeked out their windows, curious and concerned. Back at the station, Jake confidently marched his detainee into the interrogation room. Captain Laura Mitchell, noticing the commotion, approached quickly. "Hartman, what's going on here?" "I got him, Captain, the burglar from Maple Street," Jake declared proudly. Captain Mitchell eyed the young man skeptically, then asked calmly, "What's your name, son?" "It's Marcus Taylor," the young man replied nervously. "I live at 23 Maple Street. I was just waiting for my brother to come home." Captain Mitchell's face suddenly went pale. She knew that name. "Marcus Taylor, as in the mayor's son, Marcus Taylor." Jake's heart sank instantly. He felt his knees weaken beneath him. "The mayor's son?" he stammered, his voice barely audible. "Yes," Captain Mitchell snapped, visibly upset. "Did you even check his ID or ask basic questions before detaining him?" Jake felt embarrassment flood over him. "No, I didn't. I assumed." Marcus shook his head sadly. "If you had just listened, officer." Captain Mitchell sighed deeply. "Officer Hartman, step into my office. Marcus, please accept my sincere apologies. This should never have happened." Inside her office, Captain Mitchell closed the door firmly. "Hartman, you're one of our best, but this is unacceptable. You judged and detained someone without proof. Imagine the consequences." Jake nodded, feeling a heavy weight of guilt and shame. "Captain, I made a terrible mistake. There's no excuse for what I've done." "I appreciate your honesty," Captain Mitchell replied. "But actions speak louder than words. I'll need you to fix this, immediately." Jake knew exactly what he had to do. Gathering himself, he returned to Marcus, who was quietly waiting. "Marcus," Jake began sincerely, "I was completely wrong. I made assumptions I shouldn't have. I'm genuinely sorry." Marcus looked Jake directly in the eyes, taking a moment before responding. "Officer, your assumptions could have ruined my life. But everyone makes mistakes. Just make sure you learn from this." "I promise I will," Jake replied earnestly. But the situation wasn't over yet. Word spread quickly through the community and reached Mayor Taylor himself. Later that evening, Jake received a summons from the mayor's office. Feeling anxious and uncertain, Jake arrived promptly, ready to face the consequences of his actions. Mayor Taylor, a man respected for his fairness and integrity, greeted Jake with a stern expression. "Officer Hartman, my son informed me about what happened. Mr. Mayor, I can't express how sorry I am. There's no justification for my actions," Jake admitted openly. The mayor studied him closely. "You know, I've always believed in giving second chances. Mistakes happen, Officer Hartman, but how you respond is what truly matters." Jake stood silently, taking in every word. "I'd like you to publicly apologize and participate in community workshops about fair policing practices," Mayor Taylor stated clearly. "Are you willing to do that?" "Absolutely, Mr. Mayor," Jake responded without hesitation. "Anything to correct this mistake." Over the following weeks, Jake did exactly as promised. He attended community meetings, openly sharing his story and the lesson he'd learned. His sincere commitment to making things right resonated deeply with the community. People began to see him not just as an officer who had made a grave error, but as someone genuinely committed to growing and improving. One evening, after a particularly heartfelt speech at a local event, Jake was approached by Marcus. "I see you're keeping your promise," Marcus said with a gentle smile. "That means a lot." "It's the least I could do," Jake replied earnestly. "Your forgiveness inspired me to become better." Marcus nodded appreciatively. "Everyone deserves a chance to change, Officer Hartman, even police officers." From that day onward, Jake carried Marcus's words with him. He worked tirelessly to rebuild trust in Fairfield, knowing he had made a significant mistake, but had also gained a lifelong lesson. Ultimately, Officer Jake Hartman's huge mistake became his greatest teacher. He learned to listen carefully, judge fairly, and never let assumptions cloud his judgment again. The community recognized his genuine efforts, and slowly, trust was restored. So remember, everyone deserves to be heard before being judged. If you enjoyed this powerful lesson, please like the video, subscribe for more impactful stories, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another inspiring upload. Thank you for watching.